Well, Sam at Relove Guitars here. Now I'm setting out to test a principle which is the one that claims you can reset your guitar's neck with steam and pressure, clamping pressure. So to that end, well, let's come at it another way. This is, I suppose, will be the start of a video, hopefully longish, well, longer video showing what I'm going to do with this. But so I'm naturally skeptical about this claimed process. I can't see how it would work. But the claim has it that with clamping and attaching the fingerboard to a solid, I guess we'll use something like whatever that thing over there is called. It's called a solid thing, spirit level, like a box section piece of metal. I'm going to keep the neck straight, and the idea is that we're going to put some steam into the top end of this guitar, and then we're going to put pressure downwards on this neck. And the idea, well, the claim, which is never examined in too much detail, the claim is that it will encourage the neck to do that and raise up to, or yeah, turn the angle of the neck to lift it up to be just above the bridge. I think 3 mils above the bridge is a good target, or even just touching it. I can't know. I'll research it. It doesn't really matter for now. But the point being is, so we've got a sort of start point here, and I've made a sort of quick jig, which isn't anything special, but it's thankfully this table's got a cutout, Sandy. It allows me to clamp the guitar in. Now, the first thing that struck me that is never explained in people's videos about this subject is how you put a guitar down on a board, stiff board or whatever, that has a bowl, well, not a bowl, but a shape in the back. So that's never explained. So what I've done is I've actually put a little riser at the front here, or a little shim, if you like, and another one at the back, which sort of supports it and leaves the belly sort of a little bit of spare space under here. It could be the worst idea in the world, but I guess when we pull down, this is going to allow this part to bend. It could, well, let's keep this still and you can see what I'm doing. It could, well, just, it'll partly bend this down, but hopefully it will also bend the neck. As you can see, it's trying to bend here. And so the idea is we'll get this clamped off with a straight edge, with a straight section to keep it straight. And then the idea is that we steam up the end there for a few minutes. We sort of block off the rest of the bowl or the body of the guitar with some cloth or whatever, which I've got some old clothes. And then basically we clamp down this end here. So this obviously wasn't the strongest thing in the world, so I put a couple of battens here just to keep this stiff, which means we can pull down quite a long way before this starts bending, but it'll be a combination of the two. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put that under some clamping force, and we're going to leave it like that for weeks on end. And we're going to keep coming back and checking the alignment. So we'll run a ruler off the edge of the fingerboard and see where it points at. Because right now it'll be down underneath the bridge. So that's why I'm doing this, because not that I'm certain that this isn't a good or a viable way of doing it. There are people who have posted online claiming it's really, it works a treat. And I guess including the chap himself who originated or kind of showcases his method, I think there are so many things that can go wrong that I can barely even start to go into. But one of them is that everybody who I've seen talking about using this or trying this method seems to approach it with the sort of mentality, oh yeah, well, we bend wood, don't we? And that's everybody knows we heat up wood and we steam it and we bend it, right? But actually what we're not doing here, I think, this is my hypothesis, if you like, we're not really bending wood. What we're doing is we're trying to deform the structure of this body backwards from where it went to where it shouldn't have gone, kind of thing. So, you know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not massively confident, because I don't think we're doing what a lot of people think we're doing with this. I don't think we're bending wood at all. In fact, we're certainly not bending the neck, because we're doing whatever we can to keep that dead straight with a, you know, well, it won't be this, but we'll have a big block clamped to there, so it doesn't, it could be that, but not ideal. Big block clamped to there to keep it straight. So we're not bending the neck. So what are we bending, folks? Well, are we bending this top? Not really. I mean, where can we bend it? We can bowl it or you know, sink it. We can't really bend it. What we're doing is we're trying to realign all the little joins in here, which is very different from this romantic idea of taking a piece of English willow or whatever and steaming it and bending it into this new shape, or even a piece of plywood, you know, bending it around a form. So I don't think this process does what people romantically think it does. And if I'm right, and it doesn't really do that, what it does is it weakens all the little right angle joints in here, if you're lucky, because this is an old Japanese, is it a Japanese? No, it's an old Taiwanese Yamaha. You know, I think what it's going to set out to do is, even if it you know, melts or weakens up the joints here, because for all I know they may be made from some ancient resin, but if it does any you know, any work and achieves anything, my suspicion is it's only going to be because it softens up these joints and allows me to kind of counter some of the what would the word be, some of the deformation. Now the truth is they talk about, you know, blocking off the body of the guitar, and actually my understanding or my sense of how this deforms is actually it may even be better that you didn't block off the back end of the guitar, and in fact the back end of the guitar might also benefit from being able to deform as well, although a great big flat bar across the top there isn't going to help that all that much. So I'll stick with what they claim for the time being, because that's all I can do. But we're going to just see. Obviously, I'm going to take the strings off. I've measured the height. The action's ridiculously tall already. I'm going to take out the bridge doctor that's in there. Well, not take it out. I shall relieve its force that's on there, and we'll go from there. And I'll film a bit once I'm gurgling some steam in there, and we'll just see what happens. But at least we're set up. I've had to move a few things around. It's not very pretty, but it'll do for the experiment. We appear to be running. Okay, well, we're set up in the world of clamps and things. We've got the steam machine. Now, the thing about the steam machine is, and now I've got to find a place I can put this where it's actually going to video without completely messing up. I'll probably put it there. Let's get the good light, see, we don't want to get the bad light. So what I don't want is a lot of steam going in the wrong places. So, well, I don't have much choice. Okay, so we've got this straight edge clamped firmly to the neck. We've got a clamp on the end, which I can release or tighten up at will. At the moment, it's just sort of hanging on there, really. It doesn't quite get evenly across because this thing's a bit too long. But that's the way it's got to be, little darling. So as soon as I do that, that starts pressing down. Now, it's eventually going to do a bit of mixture of pressing this whole thing down, as well as hopefully rotating that. So if I was to turn on the steamer, and put this thing in here, and perhaps we could even put this. Not a lot of room after all of that, is there? I've got a clamp in the bleeding way now. something like that. I suppose we could have a thing at the top just to stop this escaping, and there's one on that side. Let's fire it up, shall we? Power, oh no, let's turn it off. And then we have a sort of steam gun thing. I don't think it steams until I shoot the thing, he said knowledgeably. Now, are we running? No, I think we're running now. There's a light. That's not so bad. Okay, so I've got my thing right in there. I've got my cloth to stop it coming out a bit. This thing spits a little bit once it's up and running, but we shall just see. So the idea will be that we'll get some steam into there, and then I will clamp it. Yeah, there we are, steaming away, hopefully. Now I'm going to leave it for a sec and see if it actually makes any steam on its own. This will stop the back of the guitar moving after tension's gone onto a certain amount, and then we should be pulling on that alone. So we don't know quite how this thing works, how long it takes. It's all very quiet. I guess it must take a minute or two to heat up. Maybe that's how you do it. Oh, it's nice steam coming out there. Whoops, you can get that. Try it again. Ready? Oh yes. That certainly is coming out there, isn't it? Not that we want it to particularly. Oh, I can feel warmth. How fab is that? Ooh-wee. Now, in the original instructions, there are absolutely no details really about how much hot or not to do. So I'm warming up, very nice and all that. Keep on going a bit more. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. You can time it off this video if you feel you need to. I mean, for all I know, the whole thing could just fall apart in one big bang. And I guess the idea is now, once we have a bit of the what's it going, we pull down the neck a little bit. Now, heavens alone knows how much or how little. There's no workable indication of that. So what we're getting is we're getting steam in there. We've got the neck levered, shall we say, to an angle that we want. I'm going to maybe put another sort of 20 seconds of steam in there, and look at this. You can see it. Okay, and then perhaps we'll just switch that off for the first go. I think we've got nice and hot there, or nice and warm anyway. It's all nice and warm. A little bit back here, but not much. And obviously the cloths here are a bit warm. A little bit warm on there, but overall, that's pretty good. Now, it looks like after that, everybody sort of, we've got a clamp on it. Everybody leaves it at that point to cool off and settle. So I can remove that's very technically delicate. So you can see there's a bit of, I don't know, steam coming out there. But what we can do now, if I put you somewhere, we're not going to get a very good view of this, are we? What I can do is I can get my straight edge and I can gently lay it along here and see that our clamping's, that's not very good, but by clamping so far along the neck now, again, one-handed, not so good. If I just try and keep this flat, then we're going over the bridge. Oh my God, come on, back up. I can't do this with only one hand, and I've got no good bit of ground to stick this down. Hold on 2 seconds. Right, let's see if we can do this. Okay, so with this touching the frets, along the frets, we're now kind of running up onto the top just as it currently stands. Okay, that's with but that's clamped. Obviously it's under pressure. It's not like we've changed the whole thingy alignment of the neck. We could probably clamp it and get it to that sort of place just by clamping pressure. But the outside now is, or the deal is, I'm going to leave this for leave it for 3 days, and then I'm going to come back and we'll adjust this. This isn't a very safe clamp at the moment, but while it's under pressure, it'll be all right as long as I don't bash into it. That's the main thing. Anyway, I've got a neck to fit to a guitar body, so that'll be it for now. That was a guess. Your guess was as good as mine, how much steam I put in there and how long for, but we'll see if it does anything like staying in that shape. And if it does, you know, looking at the logic, it can only be because it's bending and changing the shape of this box structure here. And that's what's gone wrong in the first place, frankly. So it's not exactly it's not a bad thing for it to do that, but that's all it can do. So we're looking to try and change that shape. Now, it may be, arguably, it may be a good idea to have, in fact, have more steam going everywhere else, but you've got to hold the structure somehow, and holding it at the back here, well, you know, that's what the video originally showed. So you can see the structure of it. It's all a bit Heath Robinson, but it's doing what is shown. There's a little business on one of the videos, or one of John Miner's videos I saw, about clamping this separately to this, but actually I don't have a short enough piece here. If it was that short, I could put a clamp on. He's sort of at the end, when he leaves it, he clamps the fingerboard to and the brace in the back, I think. But that's okay. We're doing the same sort of thing here. We need this whole neck to move straight, and the last thing we want is this extension to do something else. So we're trying to make this whole thing. So I think having that bar there is probably just as good in this case. So anyway, that's it for now. We'll come back for another section at 3 days from now. See you then. Well, here we are again. It's time for some steaming. And we're going to switch on wherever the thing is. Ah, there it is. We're going to find where it's plugged in, which is over here. Go! Right, currently the thing is stretched quite a lot above the thing here. But if we let go of it, it relaxes. So I don't think we're anywhere near where we need to get with this thing. You know, if you're an aficionado of the Yamahas of this era and stuff, excuse me 1 second, and you think I'm doing a wicked crime against this ear guitar, will you just stay there if I leave you dangling? Like hell you will. That is so not sensible. Will they stay there? No. Will you stay there? Maybe, maybe not. Whoops, will you fall off? Yes. Will you stay there? I've got nothing to balance this on. Let's try putting you on there. No, you don't want to do it. Unless I tie it up with a bit of this, but that will just as equally be impossible. So, sorry about this. I'm going to put you up here, and I'm going to... No, you're not even going to stand on there. Oh, maybe you are. Maybe you are. Let's see what we can see. Well, I think I'll have to do. You're looking down into the bin bag. So yeah, those of you who think I'm doing a crime, it's okay. This was, this was donated to me, to the cause by, okay, what happened? Power. This was donated for the cause by Paul, who was as interested as me in interrogating whether or not this method had any worthwhile merit. So we really were all about trying this out and reporting back what we found. So this is actually, that's a bit better. Difficult to get this in there fully. Okay, so like I say, we're quite a bit above, but that's clamped. So let's give it some steam, a bit longer this time, I think. And let's get ready. When we see the steam coming out, let's block it off without burning myself or anyone else. There we go. So it's starting to warm up around here, which is good. On top here. Cold down here. So doing it for longer this time, a couple of minutes at a time. I'm going to steam for a few minutes and then I'm just going to clamp a bit further down. And so we're obviously going to clamp. This is very imprecise, so we're going to have to clamp quite a long way above where we're going to really ideally want to end up. It's pretty hot there. I think that will do for now. Yeah, we're going to end up being clamped further than we need to end up, so I'm going to pull it down a bit further, just an improvement on the previous go. So we are now a fair bit above. We're quite hot. I'm sure there's a bit of steam left in there, so I think that's just all I'll do for now. I'll leave it clamped in that position and just hope for the best. I think, whatever happens to this, we'll learn something about what it will do. And as I said before, I'm not 100% very optimistic about it doing anything positive for the guitar, but you can't say no until you know, sort of thing. Anyway, I've got another setup to get on and do, so I shall disappear off and do that. But I don't know what let's see if I can tell you roughly, not very accurate way, but let's see if I can tell you something of what the angle is. Yeah, we're about 5 mils over the top right now, but I think that could still be, that will drop back to that quite easily, I think. Drop back to normal. So we'll never know. There's no guarantee, because the truth is, unless it stays where we want it to go, as soon as we release it, unless it comes back to a workable height, then we're wasting time anyway, because we'll just end up with something that reverts back no matter how much we steam it. So this is currently, where are we? Let's have a look. Yeah, we are currently, about 5 mils above. Now, if I released that now and it dropped all the way back to touching again, then it would defeat the object. But let's leave it there, and next time we come and look at it a few days from now, we'll see where it releases to once we let go. I guess we'll have to do that when it's cold, and then we'll bend again, or clamp again. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, just a quick update on this. I just wanted to try and show you a reflection that's caught my eye. There we are. And now I'm not sure if that was there before, but I'm wondering if that's a result of this levering and bending of the wood. Funny enough, Facebook has just shown me another person who's doing this experiment at exactly the same time. That's pretty clever. I've got to say, social media. So I'm just giving you that little bit of shape changing there, maybe to give you an idea the stresses and strains it's under. Okay, until next time. Oh, I might actually, you know what I might do? I might just squirt a bit more steam into it while we're here and plugged in. So why don't I do that? Hey, why not? Ready? Ooh. I turned it off, that's why not. I think it might go straight away if I fire the button. So I can't really tell anything about that shape other than it's doing that. Yeah, the person, I think his name's Kenny, who was posting about him doing the test. He was donated an old classical guitar today, and he said first steaming, so far so good, nothing's popped, but I'm not sure that's going to be the thingy, the proof of the pudding. But anyway, a bit more heat in there. You know, like I've said a number of times before, we're about 2 minutes now, or about a minute and a half of steaming. Like I've said before, this at best is heating up the wood, whatever the glue is that makes this box structure, but it's not really bending any wood as such. So we shall see. Let's call that probably a good 2 minute run. All right, let's turn this off here. Off. Let's feel the heat. Yep, nice. Yep. I mean, who knows how much heat it requires to do anything at all. But anyway, so that's fine. We'll park that there till next time. In fact, if I want to make sure this doesn't fall off, why don't I just attach that there like so, and we can just leave the whole shebang right there. Okay, see you later. Well, okay, this is not very good documentation, but I will tell you that I have done 3, or was it 4 steams? Oh God, 4 possibly. And today I have removed the clamps. Now, there's some interesting findings, and before any of you shudder and get all upset, remember we're doing something with a guitar, or with a process that has no real clear, deep documentation. So we're making it up and we're experimenting, and any outcome is good. Now I've got that clear. So the first thing you'll notice, well, the first thing you won't notice, and I'll tell you, is that this is now pointing to way above the mark. So if I find my ruler, we're now going to come up at over, sorry, it's terrible with just one hand. We're going to come up clear of the saddle by not a ton of millimeters, but a couple. It's much more than we had before. We were below. So we've got some change, but as you can probably have guessed, there's a certain amount of spring back on release, but we're left with a size of gap that we couldn't have prejudged or predetermined. So what's happened in the process? Well, we've got a couple of things. I've taken out the rags, and they were very slightly damp. That's because obviously they got steam, but they've held the moisture in there. Now, as a result of that, we've got a little bit of color darkening going on down here, which again is a small price to pay. We've got a little bit of sort of cloudiness built up here, and you can see it, maybe you can't, maybe you can sort of see it as a cloudy spot on the scratch plate, but again, that's a small deal. You could replace that if you wanted to. One of the things I can tell you, so we know we've got a change in the angle. We've definitely got, let's start with the obvious things now. We've definitely got a ruffle on both sides, and it's now going to resist being seen. Okay, there you can see it. See that crumple on both sides? And I'm saying, look, oh, geez, I can't do that. So use the other hand. Look here and look here. Okay, see the way the light's reflecting. So we've got a crumple. And the reason we've got a crumple is because we've pushed backwards while pulling out the bottom to make this change. Watch, where have we gone? Oh, we've gone the other way. We've lifted this up and pushed that back in and pulled this. So I don't quite know exactly physically what's happened, but we've raised the neck, and to do that we've pushed in the bottom here a little bit, or we forced it in, and we've kind of we've created some sort of ruffle in the top there. But that's that. And then on the other side, remember we had no instructions on how to restrain a round backed guitar. So I left the round back sort of free, and I clamped at both ends, and you can see we've got a little bit of a sort of pinch here physically on the edge of the wood where it gripped or held it down. Now this didn't, the back end there was clamped down onto soft material in both upper and lower part, and this had soft material. Sorry, this wasn't actually touching anything until it started to bend, and then I think it may have touched down onto the edge of the wood, which could have been maybe padded better. But anyway, again, it's reflecting some of the movement, and that's pushing inwards, I guess, and it's kind of folding that a little bit. And then there is a little crack here, which I'm not sure whether that was there before. I've got a funny feeling that might have been there before, but I think only Paul will know that. But it's very minor. And one of the things that Paul might notice, which is quite surprising, is the relative straightness of this extension compared to the rest of the neck. This is that's sort of finish checking there, by the way. It's not the wood breaking. You see some checking, maybe it's stress checking, whatever, but it's in the finish. But if you look down there, that previously, that was a really nasty, I think it dropped down away at the extension part. Now this is relatively speaking, unless I'm gone completely mad, this now looks like it's part of the same neck, which it certainly didn't before. If you remember that, Paul, that actually looks like it's the same neck all the way through, but it looked like two separate pieces previously. See that? That's not bad at all. I mean, it actually has a different color, so we were kind of trying to work out come on, focus. We were trying to work out anyway what had happened to it. The fact that it's been maybe cut off and refixed or something. It's had the color removed, but it was certainly going in a very different direction before. So looking down the neck, there's no obvious twist or anything untoward down that way. So we've got a changed object which can sit there and probably needs to dry out some more anyway. Now, like I say, the physical stressing of it is now finished, and it's going to stay like that, and then we're going to see what happens when we put a load of strings on and where it sits. And then once we load it up fully, for all I know, it could go right back to where it was, or it might go bang or do anything it feels like it. So we could probably try and put the camera inside and have a look around. That might be a smart move, although I don't really have the right sort of camera for it. There's no time like now. So let's see if we can entertain you with any views. Let's go for a long view first, shall we? You can go in. Oh yes. Can we focus on anything? Your guess in this case is probably as good as mine. I don't know if anything's trying to get a focus on it. Yeah, who knows what you can see. Know if you can see anything in there. Well, that wasn't a very good inside shot, I'm afraid. I might try and do some with a different camera and see if I can put them together. Anyway, yeah, that's where it is. Going to leave that now to settle. Might even hang it up in my special toilet room guitar museum. Oh look! Anyone got any spare hangers? Oh no, we're all out. Well, I'll hang it somewhere else. But oh yeah, here's a natural home for it. We'll leave it there for a few days. and then we'll put some strings on it. So look out for the next bit.